Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Eric, and in today's video we're going to be talking about G35s, and specifically we're going to be talking more about how you should price those G35 parts or 350Z parts when you are parting out a vehicle. So a lot of you guys have been asking me this question in the last video that I posted when I parted out that red G35 coupe. If you have not seen that video, stop this one and click that one so that you guys can kind of understand what I'm talking about here. Now, before we continue, I want to give you guys all a big shout out for the huge support in my last video. You guys have it at 11,000 views right now. I normally don't get that many views that fast, so huge thanks to all you guys showing love to the channel. Now, from that video that I posted on partying out my G35, there has been a lot of conversations that kind of have been started in the comment section. So I decided to kind of make this video to answer all your questions that you might have. The number one question that I am getting from that video is, what are my prices like? How am I selling these parts? Like, where am I selling them? What is the average price that each part normally sells for? So I like to keep track of all this information, so I keep it on a little spreadsheet myself. Now, it's very important to note that these are my prices in my current location. I've been pricing things like this for a while now, and they seem to be selling at a good pace. You guys are gonna have to do your research in your area to see how high the demand is for these parts in these vehicles. One thing I will say though, manual 350Zs and specifically manual G35s are worth a lot more when you part them out, and if you also resell them, like flip them, they're worth a lot more. They keep their value a lot more because they're just more desirable. Black interior cars are obviously gonna do better when you part them out. People are gonna want those black interior pieces. I haven't had good luck with the tan or beige interior. Those parts from the inside, I want to say I rarely ever, sell all of them. My tips would be to stick with a manual car if possible. If not, it's fine. You can make money on the automatics as well. Look for that black interior. Make sure that there are clean body parts. Make sure that it's not like completely trashed. If it is, make sure there is some aftermarket parts on the car to make some of that money to recover, your investment. I also like to keep an eye out for the catalytic converters. If I see them on the vehicle, I'll normally will buy the car and I'll sell them to a local scrap yard or something. Those are worth like $400 to $700. It just depends on the code on the catalytic converter. So with that being said, these are some of the items that I sold from that red G35, and I also did include the price. I'm gonna try to put this all on the screen so that you guys can read it as well. So I sold the two black door cards for a deal to a guy for $120. I could have sold them for $140, $160 for both. They were in good shape at the time. I didn't really know how much they were gonna go for, so I did sell them for $120. Like I said, you could probably sell them for $160. The tail lights, these are the stock OEM tail lights from 2003 to 2004, so they're not the upgraded ones. I sold those for $60 because one of them had a hairline crack, and that was kind of cheap. I know the guy, so I sold it to him at a discount. I could have probably sold that for the minimum of $100. If you have the newer style, I would probably sell those for no less than $200. The transmission, I sold that for $600 with help. Now, the help really doesn't make a difference. I would have charged the same. This is a manual transmission. Normally, these are worth $600 to $1,200 depending on the condition. This transmission was in good shape. I know the guy, so I kind of gave him a discount, but I would have probably sold that for at least $800, if not more. The rear bumper was damaged. I think the front bumper was damaged, but I still ended up selling that for $80. The 18-inch G35 wheels, I sold those for $300 with good front tires. The rear tires were burnt out, so I did sell them for $300. I could have probably got away with me selling them for $380, maybe $360, but to get them out of the way, I think I sold them for $300. The coil packs from the vehicle, I sold all 6 for $100, I believe. I think that was a fair price. They're used OEM coil packs, and I have a ton of them, so I decided to sell a full set. The sunroof assembly, the full sunroof assembly, I sold it for $140. I normally don't sell the sunroof assemblies from these vehicles because not a lot of people want them, and I don't like to keep parts, stored in the garage, even though I have a crap ton of parts. I could have probably sold that for 160, 180, but I probably wouldn't have sold it for 200 because it would be hard to sell. And I'd rather sell the part than, to wait on a buyer that might never come. Um, I sold the core support for, I believe, 150. I wouldn't go any lower than 150 if the core support, like the radiator core support, is in good shape. A lot of people crash their vehicles, and that is usually the number one thing that people are looking for. So I would try to price it a little bit higher, maybe $200. That would be a good price for a core support. Um, I also ended up selling the hood. Normally, if the hood is in good shape, I would sell it for at least $200, if not more. The fenders, I've came to a good spot when it comes to pricing those out. Normally, if they're in good shape, I will sell it for 160. If they're kind of rough, I would sell it for at least 80 to $100. But if they're in really good shape, I will not go down lower than 160 because I know the fenders are hard to find. So I try to not sell them any lower than 160 each. The headlights, if they're the stock OEM halogen headlights, I will sell them for at least 180 if they're in good shape. If they're the OEM projector style headlights that come on the 06, 07, anything above 250 would be a good price for those. The manual center console, I normally like to sell that for like 100 to $120 if it's in good shape. If it's in rough shape, I'll sell it for like $80. I normally don't sell anything less than $80. The ballast on the headlights, you can actually sell them separately, so don't sell your headlights with your ballast. I normally sell those for $50 each. There has been a time that I've sold it for 60. You can get that much money, you just gotta find the right buyer. The grill on the bumper, I normally sell it for 60 to 100, depends on the condition. The differential, if it's a VLSD from a manual transmission that has a 3.5 gear ratio, I normally try to sell that one for 250 bucks. I don't go any lower than that. If it's a open diff, I'll sell it for like 120, 150, 160. But that's as cheap as it goes for the VLSD, 250. Sometimes I'll sell it for even more, but it's just a lot harder to sell. If you have black interior and your driver's seat is good, you can get at least 150 to 160, maybe $200 for just that single seat. You can try to price it for like $400, $500 all day long, but I guarantee you, you're probably not going to sell it unless you find the right buyer that is looking for that seat and is desperate. So that's just my 2 cents there. The passenger seat, you can sell it for like 160 as well. The rear seats, you can sell the top and bottom for like 150, 180. The dash, you can sell it for like 160, $200, depending on the condition of it. Now the clock centerpiece, I like to sell those for $100 if they're in good shape. It kind of seems steep, but a lot of people buy those if they're in good shape, especially if they're black. So I have sold a few of them at $100. So I think that is a good price for those because, like I said, they're hard to find in good shape, and if you have one in good shape, they're just worth a lot more. Now, the fuel pump, I've sold fuel pumps over times. I've sold them for $60. I've sold them for like $80. It just depends. I've sold the trunk with wing for $140. I've sold the throttle body from the vehicle for, I believe, $60. I've sold the power steering pump as well for $60. The alternator, I normally sell those for $60 to $80. For the exhaust, OEM exhaust for a 350Z or G35, I normally sell those for like 140, 160. I don't sell the cats. For, let's see here, for door handles from a 350Z, if they're in good shape, I'll sell those for like 60 bucks each. For a G35 coupe, I'll sell those for like 40 bucks. Miscellaneous sensors like crankshaft sensors, camshaft sensors, I'll usually sell those for like 20 bucks each. Sometimes I can sell them for 40 bucks each. It just really depends if the person that you have buying parts from you is in a need like right away, and then they will most likely buy them. If it has an aftermarket exhaust, I will see what the price is for that exhaust, and I'll try to price it accordingly. Let's say I have an NVIDIA exhaust that's like $1,000. If the one I have from that car is in good shape, I'll try to sell it for $600, maybe $800. It just really depends on the condition of the exhaust. Airbags I normally sell for $60. If you have a 350Z and your passenger side airbag goes off, I will sell those for at least $200, because that comes with like the cover on the dash. So I think those are a little bit more pricey. So I would try to sell those for at least $200. I would hold on to them because there will be a buyer for those. Trust me, a lot of people buy those. For the bare door shell, I normally sell that for like 120 to 160 depending on the condition. I have sold a pair one time. I think I sold both of them for $300, I believe. So you can sell them for a decent amount. Like I said, the catalytic converters I can normally get 300 to 700 depending on if it's a HR or a G35 DE. Just it really depends on the code. Compression arms, if they're in good shape, $60 to $100. Upper control arms, I normally sell them $60 each. Sometimes I'll sell them for $40. Sometimes people want me to sell it to them for $30, but I rarely go down to that. I like to stick to $40 and $60 depending on the condition. Now for the 350Z, I want to say it's very similar as far as like the mechanical parts. However, the body parts, I would price them a little bit more expensive, especially the front and rear bumper. The front bumper, I would sell them for at least $200 if they're in rough shape. If they're in really good shape, I would sell them for at least $300. The same thing goes with the rear bumper. The side skirts, I would sell them for at least $160 each. If not, you can maybe do a price deal for like $250 for both. It really depends on if you have OEM or aftermarket. A lot of people kind of just sell their OEM side skirts, so it's hard to find the person that is going to appreciate a OEM side skirt. You just kind of have to wait on those parts. The hatch, a lot of people sell them really cheap, but I have sold hatches before for 350Zs for like $200. So I would say $200 to $300 is a good price for those. Now the two seats, if they're in good shape, I would sell them for at least $250. If they're in rough shape, I would probably sell it for $160 for both. It just depends on how bad they are. If the steering wheel is in good shape, I would sell it for $80. If it's rough, I would sell it for like $40. I would sell the airbag for at least $80 as well. So it really depends on the condition of your parts, but I hope this video kind of helped you guys get a little bit better of understanding of how you should price these parts. You're gonna have to go out there and experiment if you guys are parting out vehicles, but I have seen other people part out, and I think my prices are fair when you compare them to like Sac City or freaking any other salvage yard. You guys are gonna be paying a lot more compared, to what I sell parts for. And a lot of you guys have been hitting me up for parts. However, at this time I don't ship parts out. I'm only selling locally to people that I know or people that are here in Phoenix, Arizona. So I apologize if you guys are under the impression that I ship out parts. So I hope you guys did find this video somewhat entertaining. If you guys have any further questions, comment down below and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. If you guys did like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing, consider sharing it with your friends, and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Peace out.